Hey everyone, come on in. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 ways you can make your home look custom built on a budget. Hey everyone, it's Emily. Welcome to Mama from Scratch. Today's video is a little extra special because we have been in this home almost an entire year. Is that crazy? I feel like it's gone by so fast. I feel like we've only been here a few months because we've been so busy working on projects for the home to make it our home. And I'm really excited to share with you 10 ways that you can take your home and make it custom and make it beautiful on a budget. Now I know everybody's skill level and budget is different. I have that in mind. There's something in here for every single one of you. A house does not become a home until you put your personal touch on it, and I'm a firm believer in that. Whether you have a brand new home or a 100-year-old home, it doesn't matter because everybody's preference and look is different in style. It all depends on what you personally love, and I suggest that you do what you love because some things that I may love, you may not, and that is okay. That's what makes the world go around and makes it beautiful. So I'm going to break it down from each thing and what we've done. Now, we did have our house custom built, but we did not do all the bells and whistles with it because one, it cost a lot of money, and two, I knew I could do the things later on, and three, I wanted to kind of be in the house and see what I wanted for that particular space before I just jumped in it and did it before we moved in. So keep that in mind. It's a great way to keep your costs low if you are building, and even when you're moving into an existing home that's been there for a few years or 30 years or whatever, you can do things over time. We've done something about every month, and it's definitely been helpful and keep spreading our budget and obviously time-wise as well. So the first thing that we did when we moved in was we created a focal point in our home and added an accent wall, and it's the one right behind me, the fireplace. Now, when we had the house built, we just did the tile up to basically where the mantle is, which I built as well, and you can do it too. But if we were to take the tile all the way to the ceiling, it was going to cost a lot of money, and then to have the painters paint the accent of the black on there, it was going to be around $600, and I was like, absolutely not. So a way that we cut costs was just to have the painters paint one single color in the entire house, and I could add my personal colors as I went throughout each room, and that is something that we've done. All I did was take the leftover tile to the paint store with me, and I thought I was gonna have to have it custom colored, and I did not. I found an exact color to match, and it's beautiful, and I've used it in a few different spots in my home, and I'm really happy that I did because it creates such a beautiful focal piece to the room without it being overpowering. Anytime I post this fireplace on Instagram, everybody loves it, and I personally love it. It adds a lot of interest without being overpowering. The second thing that we did to the house to add a custom look to it was actually add a feature wall to it, but without color. Now, the entryway is beautiful, but I didn't want to add a color to that because I thought it would compete with the fireplace behind me. And so to do that, I added a simple board and batten treatment on the wall, and I kept the color pure white the way the walls were, and it looks fantastic. It adds a lot of interest to the wall, but it only cost me $35 in a day of my time. So it's something that you can do. Don't be intimidated by it. And if you don't have all the tools, you can rent tools, or you can, if you know all your specific measurements, you can have the hardware store cut them for you. So keep that in mind. But it adds so much to the space, and it's not overpowering. It just adds a beautiful interest. And if I were to have our builders do that, it would have cost me a couple $1,000s for them to do that. And I was like, no, I can do that later on. Now, that's something that I'm glad I waited on, because as you live in a house, you're gonna figure out what things you wanna add and what things you don't wanna add. Just like the floor plan of a house. You might think it looks perfect on paper, and then when you move in, you're like, man, I wish we had an extra foot here or an extra foot there, like the flow to be a little bit better, but you don't know that until you move into the house. And it goes for anything really that you buy. It's just kind of over time, you kind of develop your patterns. You're like, oh, this works and this doesn't quite work. And that's okay. It happens, and you're not alone in that. But just know that you can take each of these projects and work on something once a month or a couple projects a year. Something we've done since we lived in our first house was write a list for the entire year. I'm a list person. I love it. I love checking that off as a huge gratification. But I would write down like what I want to accomplish for the house that year, and then I would kind of break it down each month if I could, like kind of let's focus on this month and this that month. And that was really helpful. So maybe it'll be helpful to you. The third thing that we did to this space was add built-ins. Now, if I wanted to do custom built-ins and get beautiful cabinetry and everything, that's gonna cost you a lot of money, which you can do if you want to, but you can also do it yourself. I went to the hardware store and got kitchen cabinets, that's right, and I put them in, I trimmed them out, which was a little more challenging than I thought, but it was a great DIY project for myself and I loved it and I'm very proud of the project. Now I could build the cabinets myself, but I haven't done that yet and I didn't feel it was necessary for this particular space yet. And then I added a wood top to it, which I can actually take out and add a different top if I want to. That's the beauty of doing it yourself, is that you can tailor it to your liking. So you could go to the store and they may not have the color of the cabinet that you want. That's okay. Sand it down and paint it the color that you want. And you can customize your house and make it look like a fully custom home, even though it wasn't. You're adding things to your home as you go. And it allows you to take your time with it, but it also allows you to be very expressive and make it your home. Number 4, I am so excited to share with you because it's something I've been wanting to do since we moved into our home and we are finally able to. And I want to thank today's sponsor, Montana Forge, for partnering with me because I am delighted to work with them. And they have beautiful door hardware that is solid metal, but it comes in 5 different finishes for you that you can actually mix for your doors. So you don't have to stick with just one color, you can mix the colors, and they have so many beautiful options. They have industrial, mid-century modern, Scandinavian, colonial, bohemian. Let me tell you, you are gonna be so excited when you see it, and it's fully customizable. So you can get passage, privacy, half and full dummy hardware. You can get a custom front door and the hardware that you want. You can change the deadbolt and have a different knob. One of the other features I like about their hardware is that they hide the screws underneath the plates, so you don't have to look at ugly screws. They make it really easy to order online. They have actual customer service, but they break down each step for you, so you won't miss anything and everything that you need will actually come to your door and you are ready to go. So let me show you how to do it. I have everything listed in here individually wrapped, so there's no confusion, and there's 3 different ways that you can get instructions. One on the box, one by paper, and one with a QR code that you can scan to get all the directions. It's super simple, not complicated. There's literally like 8 steps to changing your door hardware. It's simple and you can do it. First step is to actually remove your old hardware. My door swings inward, so I want to take my latch and I want to make sure that flat side is facing inward as well. Step 3 is to take your spindle, and there is a little like button basically on there that you're going to push through, and it's going to pop out the other side, and then you're good. This is going to be a privacy lever. Number 4 is to take the chassis and slide it over the spindle. The reason why most hardware is loose is because the companies don't provide the right tools. Montana Forge does. And make sure that that hole is facing the edge of the door. We're going to take the rosette and slide that over the spindle, and we're going to take our privacy latch, push that in, and screw in the little tip of it. And it comes with 2 different sizes, so you can choose your size preference. And then locked, unlocked. I'm going to take the threaded collar and slide that over. And you're going to make sure that that little hole is facing the inner part, just like the other side. Take that collar, put it on there, use your tool that Montana Forge gives you, tighten it. And with this, there's no exposed screws in your rosette. Last step is to take your handles, and you'll see a little screw down here. You're going to make sure that screw is on the bottom. You're going to push that on. Then they give you a little Allen wrench. You're going to go down here and tighten that. You can test your lock, make sure it works. You're going to push it in, give that click, and to unlock it, you can do that. Or they also give you a little key to go through that hole on this side in case, somebody decides to lock themselves in the room or whatever. Keep this somewhere where you have it handy. But if you notice something, additional hardware that you're going to find at the hardware stores, you're going to have to pull your level a whole 90 degrees to get that door to open. With Montana Forge, it's a 30-degree angle, and that's it. It's nice, it's convenient, and it makes it easier, so when your hands are full, you can use your elbow or barely tap it and the door opens for you. It's super nice. I love that part about them, and the quality of this is literally unmatched, you guys. For the price, you are getting very nice quality hardware, and it feels expensive, it looks expensive, and it just, there's a difference between this and the old hardware. And look how much sleeker it looks too, by the way. Oh, I love it. I'm so happy with them. So I will have all their information linked in the description box below, along with the hardware that I chose, so that you guys can get it too. This is the mid-century modern, and I absolutely love it. They also have it in knob form as well, if you're into that versus lovers. One way that we saved money when we were building our home was to just put light bulbs into the ceiling. I know that sounds crazy, but I was not ready to commit to a certain type of light fixture in every single room of the house, nor could we afford it at the time. So what we did was we put light bulbs where I knew that I wanted to add something. That way the electrical was hooked up, but all I'd have to do was buy a light fixture later on. And I'm so happy that we did that, because my design for the kitchen definitely changed. I thought I was gonna do these kind of like lampshade type of pendants in there, and I changed my mind, and I'm really glad that I took the time after we moved in and hung up different lights in there. And I took pictures of it to see what I liked and what I didn't like, size, proportion, things like that. Sometimes you can't gauge all those things when you're going to go pick everything out. So that was just really helpful that we waited on that. And now I have beautiful pendant lights. I have a beautiful chandelier in the living room. So I'm glad I waited, and there's still rooms in this house that I have to add lighting to, but as I do the room, then I will buy the light for it, and that works better for me and for the budget wise too. Number 6 is adding floating shelves. There's something about floating shelves that just looks so timeless. It's clean and it's really nice. It can be a little bit of a challenge to add in. I will not say it wasn't when I did these ones, but it looks so different from when I first moved into the house. It was blank, nothing was there. And the original idea was actually to have our builders put the shelving in, but they wanted like $300 a shelf. And I was like, absolutely not, I can't afford that, and that's just too much money. So what I did do is, when we had the house built, is I actually had them put backing, a thicker backing, where I wanted to have floating shelves. And that didn't cost us any extra money, because it was lumber that we already had, and that was very helpful. Now, if you can't do that, that's okay. Just make sure you find a stud to put it in. But I'm really happy I waited to do this myself, because it cost me like $100 to do it myself versus $600 for them to add it. And I like a DIY project, so it wasn't a hassle to me. There's another area that I was actually going to have them put shelving in our kitchen, and I'm so glad I didn't, because our cabinets are 2 different depths. And for me, I like symmetry, and I feel like it would bother me having shelving going across with a cabinet sticking out further than the other one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't work for me. It may work for some people, that's totally fine, but for me, it bothers me. So I'm glad I didn't add them where I was originally going to. I still have to figure it out, that kitchen nook yet, but we'll get there. Number 7 is such a doable DIY, and it's really affordable, is to frame out your mirrors. These mirrors behind me I actually made, really simple, but a mirror in your bathroom, let's say, most of the time when you get a house, they usually have the really wide mirrors. There's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted a more custom look to the house, and I wanted to look a little higher end, so I actually decided, told them, do not put a full length mirror, take that mirror and cut it down so that I have 2 individual mirrors. I spent $6 on trim for each mirror, painted them black and glued them on, and now I have a custom looking mirror in my bathroom. Now if that's not up to something up your alley that you don't want to mess with, that's totally fine. Go to Home Goods or somewhere else and get a mirror for like 30 or 40 bucks and add it to your space. But with a bathroom, sometimes your vanities are different sizes, and sometimes you need a custom size mirror. That is okay. Go to the hardware store and get a mirror the size that you want, and then just frame it out. Because a lot of times what your style might be, or the size that you need for your home, may not be able to find it at the store, and that's okay. You can do it yourself. So I highly suggest you try that. It's a really easy solution, and it looks so much better. I'm very happy with it. Number 8 is very similar to number 4. You're adding jewelry to your home on your cabinetry. I cannot emphasize how much of a difference this makes. And the best part is, you do not have to color match it to anything else in the house. Let's say the door hardware is black like mine. You could do brass hardware, you could do silver, you could do 2 tones. You could do the doors on the top, one color, and the drawers and doors on the bottom, another color. You don't have to keep that specific look throughout the house. I did different hardware on the drawers in the kitchen than I did in the bathroom. but I did use the same hardware in from the kitchen, and I used that actually in the mudroom. That's number 9 on the list, is adding cabinetry to your home yourself. Now you're probably thinking, girl, I'm not that skilled. It's okay. I haven't built a full cabinet myself either. It's something that I want to do, and it's something I was actually planning on doing for a mudroom, but lumber was just crazy high. So I ended up getting IKEA units and adding them in there, and I painted them a beautiful color, just like the fireplace. And I added my own hardware to them, and boy, do they look custom. And the detail in the doors is what gives it that custom look. So I didn't chose not to do like a flatter look like my doors throughout the house. I did more of a detail because it looks more high-end and custom. It looks like you paid for a cabinetry guy to come in and do a beautiful detail, and I did not. All I did was sand them down, prime, and paint them, and I'm so happy with the result. And they were super affordable. Each of those doors was like $50 to $55 versus if I were to pay a cabinetry place to do it, which I totally could. But again, it depends on what your budget is and how much you want to spend for that particular space. So you can go semi-custom and still get a custom look and a beautiful high-end look for your home as well. Number 10 is to combine tip number 1 and number 2 together for a happy marriage of a beautiful accent wall with a wall treatment. I love the way these pair together. Now you don't have to go dark on the color, you could do light. I did light color on my vertical shiplap in my laundry room, and I love the way it pairs. You can just do an accent wall, or you can add an accent color to it, and it's beautiful, you guys. It's a great way to update your home and give it that custom look, but on a budget. This combined was less than $100 to do, and if I want to change it in a few years, I can change the color, I can change the wall treatment. It's not gonna hurt nothing. A couple little things of spackle to fill in the nail holes, and I'm done. But I am so happy with the way this wall treatment turned out, and it's something that you guys can easily do. That I created a home that I absolutely love, and there's a sense of pride in it because we did it ourselves. And when you accomplish a DIY project, you have like the extra oomph to work on another one, and you want to kind of keep on going. It's like a snowball effect. You're like, yes, I can do more and more and more, and it's so much fun. I hope today's video was helpful and also encouraging, gave you a little extra oomph to tackle those DIY projects to make your house into a beautiful home on a budget. I will have full tutorials on everything I shared in today's video linked in the description box below in their own video, so you guys can tackle those projects if you need those extra encouragement and ideas. And I want to say a big thank you to Montana Forge for partnering with me for today's video. I love that it's customizable to your home and to your liking, and there's so many different styles to choose from. I will have mine all linked down below and along with their site, so you guys can go shopping and be able to make your home look beautiful one door at a time. So with that, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.